Welcome back. When you make travel plans, the first thing that comes to mind is, where will I stay? Well, that all-important question has given rise to a lucrative business. According to data compiled by the American hotel and lodging industry, last year, hotel revenue topped $163 billion. At the time, there were nearly 53,000 registered properties. Noble Investment Group CEO Shah has bought and sold some of those properties through his billion-dollar real estate investment firm. His career, like most, had humble beginnings, attaining success through hard work, good parental guidance, and a can of Pepsi. We explain in today's Executive Profiles with Ed Baker.
So let's go back to your youth. Your folks were extremely hardworking, serial entrepreneurs, and really kind of the open door, if you will, to what's developed into Noble Investments.
Right. My mother and father became the proud owners of the Winkler Motor Inn in the summer of 1979. At the time, I was 10 years old. So this was a business whereby I entered into unwillingly and also as a responsibility, and doing things at age 10 that a lot of kids, my friends, weren't doing at the time, like working the 7 to 3 morning shift, cleaning pools and doing laundry and doing rooms. I ended up making friends with our chief engineer at the time. And I remember I was out there with him one time. He had a toolbox in his hand, and there was a guest that came into the lobby. He was very upset about the fact that it was summertime, it was very hot, and there was no soda in the Pepsi machine that we had there. It was also the time that I was a Boy Scout, and I was prepared to go ask my father for some money that I could go to the Boy Scout Jamboree that summer. My father gave me probably one of the best benefits that I had at that time, which he asked me to be his partner. If I would be responsible for filling the soda machines, he would teach me how the whole business worked, and he'd share profits with me. Now, my first question was, will I have enough money to go to the Boy Scout Jamboree? And his answer is, son, not only will you, if you do it right and you work really hard, not only will you have money for the Pepsi machine, you'll be able to learn what it is to actually be in your own business and do it at an age much earlier than I did and understand, the responsibility that comes with that. So now the summers were, in addition to my responsibilities at the front desk and cleaning rooms, et cetera, me and our chief engineer, we would go and we would go purchase Pepsis, and we would go fill them up in the machine, and my father and I split profits. And so not only did I go on the Boy Scout Jamboree, I was hooked.
Today's Noble Investments, tell our audience about your company.
Well, we just finished our 20th year in business, founded the company in Atlanta, and I will say we found ourselves in Atlanta at the right place at the right time. In '93, it was really coming out of the financial crisis. Limited service hotels were just being developed. Our ambition was really just to be the best at what we did. We said that we want to be the best lodging firm. We continue to invest in that. So today, 20 years through, beginning our 21st year, we have invested in a little over $2.5 billion in hotels. A large portion of that, majority, has been in limited service hotels, but there've also been hotels like 2W's here in Atlanta and the Hyatt in Midtown. We are in 20 states. Our largest concentration remains here in the state of Georgia. So today there's a little over 30 full-time team members in our Atlanta offices here, and what we're focused on is exactly the same thing as when we started the business. It's just bigger, it's just more widespread. It still is fun. It's a lot more dynamic, a lot of changes to the landscape. All of my senior leaders, they've averaged 13 years with the firm. Each one of them are in a position that was created for when they arrived. The business today, 52 hotels that again run the full gamut of size and scale and scope, but most of them identified in that limited service extended stay sector.
And the brands are?
All of them are affiliated with Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, and Starwood.
And in how many states?
20.
Amplify for me, if you will, about that special culture that I know you have in terms of the care and feeding of the people you work with.
My grandfather always used the term that he would do the noble thing to do. And so as we grew up, that name became a part of our vernacular. And it was always in the context of what's the easiest thing to do, what's the hardest thing to do, and what's the right thing to do. And always choose the right thing to do. So when we started the company, and we thought about the brand, even back then, about what do we want to be named for. So there was never a question. It almost immediately said that the name of the company would signify truly what we wanted to be recognized for. When I talk about the longevity of our team and the culture of our team, I really go back to the one thing that I had the ability to do was to start with the full ownership of the company. Today, there are 9 owners of the business, and those are my friends and colleagues that came and joined me, believed in what the vision was, believed in what we tried to accomplish. They're stakeholders, they've got their money into it, and we all share in the collective gains. And when times get really tough, we all share in the collective hardship through our sweat equity and what we're doing. So at the heart of it, I think the name and the culture hopefully signify the same thing, which is there's an easy thing to do and there's a right thing to do.
And how's your son's portfolio doing today?
His grandfather had taught him about the stock market as well. And so my son's earnings over the last couple of years averaged in the high 20s in the market, much better than I would say his pops had. And so he came up to the table with what he wanted, and he's the proud driver of a Subaru Forester, and he's so far so good.
It's all about the advice you get, isn't it?
All about the advice that you get.
Thanks for doing this.
Oh, it's my
Good to see
pleasure.
you.
Likewise.
Appreciate it.
Noble Investment Group recently sold the Hyatt Atlanta Midtown for nearly $50 million. One of its local properties, the W Atlanta Midtown Hotel, is home to Southern-inspired farm-to-table restaurant Trace, which made Zagat's list of one of the hottest restaurants opening this summer. When we return